Welcome to episode 3.2 on the outbreak of the Cold War. In the last episode 3.1, we covered Cold War vocabulary. In this episode, I will show you how to use the Cold War vocabulary you just learned to make your explanations more precise for questions on the outbreak of the Cold War. Out of the three factors here, I want to focus on and improve on the Truman Doctrine factor, simply because I feel it led to more than just tensions. Let's start with a very quick recap of the Truman Doctrine. Pause this slide to read if needed. The Truman Doctrine was essentially an open declaration of hostility. I've included some sentence starters here. Pause the video and think about how you would continue these sentences using evidence and explanation. Here's an example of how you might improve it. In terms of evidence, I've highlighted that the Truman Doctrine offered financial and military aid to Greece and Turkey, which were facing internal communist threats. In the explanation, I've shown that this aggression was aggressive. It was threatening and an attempt to undermine Soviet influence. We've now seen how the Truman Doctrine contributed to the Cold War. What about Soviet expansion in Eastern Europe? I personally feel that Soviet expansion did more than just cause tensions. Here, we are looking at an escalation of tensions or deepening mistrust. I've placed some sentence starters here. Pause and think about how you would continue these sentences using evidence and explanation. To help you with evidence, here's a very brief content recap on Soviet expansion in Eastern Europe. We know the Soviets wanted to create a buffer zone of friendly communist governments. They extended control through tactics such as arresting opponents and rigging elections, which made the West highly suspicious. With this stronger evidence, let's now look at an improved paragraph that clearly links Soviet actions to the outbreak of the Cold War. We have now looked at how to address the Truman Doctrine and Soviet expansion in Eastern Europe. What if the question is Stalin was afraid of the military strength of the United States? What examples come to mind? Here are some suggestions for you to consider. Similarly, if the question is Stalin was afraid of the Western powers, I think about actions the West did that would make Stalin fearful. For example, the delay in opening the Western Front made Stalin suspect that the Western powers had ulterior motives, and we know a weak Soviet Union would lead to the US and Britain dominating Europe after the conclusion of war. This brings us to the end of the episode. I hope you now know how to tackle outbreak of Cold War questions with confidence.